Teto was born under a quiet blue sky on a small human colony at the edge of known space. The planet was not rich, not famous, and not important to the great powers of the galaxy. It was simply a place where ordinary people tried to live peaceful lives. Farmers grew food under artificial suns, engineers fixed old machines, and parents told their children stories about Earth, a home most of them had never seen. Tito's mother, Mara, was one of those ordinary people. She worked long hours, but every night she held her baby close and whispered promises into his tiny ears. She promised that the stars would be kind. She promised that no matter how dark the universe was, she would always protect him. Teto did not understand her words, but he felt the warmth in her voice. And that was enough. For a while, life stayed quiet. Then the lights appeared in the sky. At first, people thought they were meteors. Bright lines moving too slowly, changing direction in ways nature never did. The colony leaders told everyone to stay calm. They said there was no danger. But fear has a sound. And it moved through the streets like a whispering wind. The night the aliens arrived, the sky did not explode. It did not burn. It simply opened. Ships slid out of nothingness, smooth and silver, reflecting the stars like mirrors. No alarms rang fast enough. No defenses mattered. Beams of white light poured down and wrapped buildings, streets, and people in perfect silence. Mara was running when the light found her. She held Teto tight against her chest as the ground disappeared beneath her feet. The air felt heavy, like water. She screamed his name, even though he was still there, still warm, still alive. Doors closed around them, and the world they knew vanished. When the light faded, Mara stood in a long metal hallway that smelled of cold and ozone. Tall figures surrounded her. The aliens were thin, their bodies shaped like sharp ideas instead of living things. Their eyes glowed softly, empty of emotion. Teto began to cry. The sound seemed to annoy them. One alien stepped forward and took Teto from Mara's arms with a single smooth motion. She fought. She screamed. She begged in every language she knew. The aliens did not respond. A wall of energy pushed her back as the baby was carried away. Her scream echoed down the corridor. Long after Teto was gone, the laboratory was bright and silent. Machines floated in the air, adjusting themselves as the aliens placed Teto on a cold surface. Light scanned his body, passing through skin and bone as if he were made of glass. His crying filled the room, raw and desperate to the aliens. This was not cruelty. It was research. They had studied thousands of species. Most were simple, predictable. Humans were not. Humans felt too much, loved too deeply, fought even when logic said surrender was the correct choice. The aliens wanted to understand that weakness, or turn it into strength. They injected Teto with glowing fluids. They altered his cells, rewriting pieces of his body like faulty code. They exposed his mind to simulated fear, simulated loss, simulated love. Each reaction was measured, recorded, compared. When they showed him the image of his mother's face, his heart rate spiked. His brain lit up with signals the machine struggled to translate. Tears rolled down his cheeks. Tiny fists clenched. Emotional response exceeds parameters. One alien observed. Instability confirmed, said another. Days passed. Then weeks. Teto grew, but not normally. His eyes followed movement too closely. His silence felt heavy, like he was learning something no child should learn. Sometimes he would stare at nothing and whimper softly, as if remembering pain he could not name. The experiments continued. They pushed his body to its limits. Cold, heat, isolation, noise, darkness still. The results disappointed them. His strength increased slightly. His endurance improved. But the emotions never disappeared. Fear, sadness, attachment. They all remained subject unsuitable. The lead alien finally declared. They did not see a child. They saw a failure. The decision was made. Without anger or regret, Resources would not be wasted on a useless experiment. The human baby would be returned to nature. They chose a dead world. The planet had once been alive long ago. Now it was nothing but gray dust, broken mountains, and endless wind. No atmosphere worth breathing. No life signs. No future. The alien ship descended briefly. A hatch opened. One of them placed Teto on the cold ground, wrapped in thin cloth that offered no real protection. Teto cried. The sound was small, weak. Experiment terminated. The alien said. The hatch closed. The ship rose. The sky swallowed it whole. Silence returned. Teto lay alone on the dead planet, his cries fading into the wind. The cold crept into his bones. His hands reached out, searching for warmth that was no longer there. The universe had taken everything from him and given nothing back. As darkness fell, the ground beneath him trembled far below the surface. Something ancient stirred. Something that remembered fire. Something that heard the cry of a discarded child. Long before alien ships learned how to cut through space. Long before humans dreamed of reaching the stars, dragons existed. They were older than fear, older than empires, older than written time. When worlds were young and full of fire, dragons were born to guard balance. When worlds died, dragons slept beneath their bones. This world was dead. Ash covered the land like snow. Mountains stood broken, their hearts hollow. No birds flew. No rivers sang. Only wind moved, whispering through stone and dust. Yet the wind carried something new that night. A cry. Small, weak, human. Deep beneath a cracked surface, far below where alien scanners could see, something ancient shifted. A massive eye opened in the dark, glowing like a dying sun. The sound reached the dragon's heart, sharp and painful. Like an old memory waking up, the dragon remembered loss. It remembered a time when its own kind had been hunted across the stars, called monsters, wiped out for being powerful and different. It remembered hiding, waiting, sleeping, while the universe forgot them. The cry came again. The dragon could not ignore it. Stone shattered as the creature rose. The ground split open, and fire poured out like blood from a wound. A massive head emerged, scales glowing with slow, controlled heat. Wings unfolded, each movement shaking the sky. The dragon rose fully into the open air. On the cold gray ground, a tiny human child lay wrapped in thin cloth. His face was red from crying. His breath came in short, painful gasps. The cold had already begun to steal his warmth. The dragon lowered its head, so small, it thought, so fragile, and yet, alive. The dragon felt something it had not felt in a very long time. Joyce. I hear you. Little flame, the dragon spoke. Not with sound, but with thought that pressed gently against the child's mind. Teto did not understand words, but he felt warmth. His crying slowed. One tiny hand reached out and touched the dragon's scale. It was warm, solid, safe. That touch sealed his fate. The dragon carefully lifted the child in one great claw, adjusting its grip so not even a scale edge could hurt him. Fire moved around them, not wild or destructive, but calm and protective. The cold wind could not reach them anymore. The dragon carried Teto across the dead world, flying low, searching for a place where life could exist. At last it found a hidden valley where heat flowed from deep cracks in the earth. Rivers of lava glowed softly, lighting the darkness like stars trapped on the ground. Other dragons watched as the Great One landed, a human. One asked, its voice heavy with disbelief. A child, the great dragon answered. They named her Asha, keeper of ashes and new beginnings. She was one of the oldest, a dragon who had seen worlds rise and fall. If she chose to protect the child, the others would not challenge her. Teto should have died. The air was thin. The heat was dangerous. The food was not meant for humans. But Asha adapted. She softened the heat around him. She brought him strange glowing fruits that grew near lava flows, rich with energy. From ancient magic, She formed a milk-like substance to feed him. The alien experiments inside Teto reacted. His body changed, his blood warmed. Instead of boiling, his bones grew dense instead of breaking. His lungs learned to breathe, air touched by fire. The cold that once nearly killed him could no longer claim him. Years passed. Teto learned to walk between claws the size of buildings. He learned to sleep to the sound of distant eruptions. When he fell, the ground did not hurt him. When he cried, small sparks danced in the air around his hands. The dragons watched closely. "He is becoming something new," one said. "Yes," Aja replied. "Something the universe did not plan." Teto learned to understand dragon thoughts, feelings shaped into meaning. He learned words slowly, piecing together memories from a life he barely remembered. Sometimes he saw a woman's face in his dreams. Gentle eyes. Warm arms. He asked Asha about her. "She was your mother," Asha told him. "She loved you." That love became a quiet fire in Tito's chest. One day, the sky changed. The dragons felt it before they saw it. A wrongness in the air. A cold, sharp presence cutting through space. Alien ships returned, scanning the dead planet with new eyes. They were searching for mistakes. Loose ends. They found fire. Asha roared and the valley answered. Dragons rose from sleep, wings tearing through ash clouds. Flames painted the sky orange and gold. Alien ships fired first, beams of white energy slicing the air. Fire answered. Metal melted. Shields failed. Ships fell, burning as they crashed into the dead land below. Teto watched from the valley's edge, fear and anger twisting together inside him. Memories flooded back, cold tables, bright lights, being taken. Being thrown away? Asha landed beside him. "The ones who hurt you have returned," she said. Teto clenched his fists. Heat gathered around his hands. Stronger than ever before. "I'm not weak anymore," he said. And for the first time, the dragons believed the universe had made a mistake. A mistake that could change everything. Teto stood at the edge of the burning valley, watching the sky fill with fire and shadow. Dragons moved above him like living storms. Their wings cutting through ash clouds, their flames tearing apart alien metal. The dead world, once silent, now roared with life and war. He was afraid, and he was not. Inside his chest, two fires burned together. One was fear, born from memories of cold tables, bright lights, and hands that never cared. The other was something stronger: choice. The choice Aja had given him. The choice the universe had tried to take away. Asha landed beside him, her massive body shielding him from falling debris. Her scales were scarred now, glowing cracks running across them where alien weapons had struck. "You do not have to fight," she told him gently. "You are still a child." Teto looked up at her. "I was a child when they broke me," he said. "I won't be one when they hurt others." The words surprised even him. Above them, an alien command ship descended, larger than the rest. Its surface covered in shifting symbols. Its weapons powered up. Targeting the valley where Teto stood. Asha felt it instantly. She lowered her head. "If you stand here," she warned, "you may never be the same." Teto nodded. "I already am not the same." The air around him began to change. The alien modifications inside his body awakened fully for the first time. Systems meant to suppress emotion failed. Dragonfire, absorbed over years, surged through his blood. Heat rolled off his skin, not burning, but alive. Teto stepped forward. The command ship fired. A beam of white energy tore toward him, strong enough to erase mountains. Before Asha could move, Teto raised his hands. The beam stopped, not blocked, stopped. It trembled in the air, caught in an invisible force shaped by will, emotion, and fire. Teto screamed, not in pain, but in release. Memories poured out of him. His mother's face, the fear of being alone, the warmth of dragon wings. The beam shattered into light across the battlefield. Dragons froze. So did the aliens. Teto looked at his hands, glowing with symbols he did not remember learning. Dragon runes burned into his skin, answering the alien code inside him. I choose. He said that the words echoed through the sky. The alien command ship tried to retreat. It failed. Dragons attacked together. Fire striking with perfect precision. Teto reached out with his mind, touching the alien crew. He did not crush them. He showed them. He showed them fear.loss. The pain of being discarded. Some screamed, some shut down, some fled. The war ended not with total destruction, but with understanding forced upon those who had never wanted it, when the last alien ship vanished into space. Silence returned slowly, broken only by the crackle of cooling fire. Teto collapsed. Aja caught him before he hit the ground, pulling him close to her chest. Her heat wrapped around him, steady and protective. You did more than fight, she said softly. You changed them. Tito's eyes were heavy. I don't want anyone else to feel like I did, he whispered. Days passed, the dragons gathered in the valley. They spoke of what had happened, of what Teto was becoming. Never before had a human stood among them like this. Not as prey, not as a threat. But as family, the universe will notice him, one dragon warned. It already has, Asha replied. She took Teto to the highest ridge of the dead world, where the stars burned bright and close. She showed him human space, distant lights flickering with life. There are other children, she said, other worlds that suffer. Teto felt the pull immediately. I want to help them, he said. You cannot save everyone, Asha reminded him. I know, Teto answered. But I can try, and that matters. The dragons marked him that night. Protective runes burned briefly into his skin, then faded, becoming part of him. They taught him how to travel between worlds, how to balance the fire inside without letting it consume him.
When Teto finally left the dead world, he did not leave alone. Asha watched him from the ridge as he stepped into the stars, no longer a discarded experiment. He was a bridge between species, a warning to those who believed power gave them the right to cruelty, and a promise to every forgotten child in the dark. Somewhere far away, alien leaders would speak his name in fear, and beneath silent worlds, dragons would sleep lightly, ready to rise again if the child they had chosen ever called for them. The universe had thrown Teto away. The dragons had chosen him. And because of that, everything was about to change.